or the other. They could only walk through these narrow parts right here.
We finally have the means to strike back. We now
But
have
it doesn't
Ariel's
seem to
bow.
borrow Serana at
The
all,
gods themselves have
because she's
favored
walking
us,
right over it.
and we must answer with action. The time has
Anyway, I
come
think that's
to
why
finally put an end to Harkon
design is the
and
way
his
it is.
unholy prophecy. We will march on their lair and destroy those wretched abominations so they can no longer corrupt our world. This is our fight, and this is our fate. This is the time of the Dawn Guard. Kill the abominations! This is it.
Hold between the eyes for me.
Prophecy no more.
It's time we take the fight to their door. Gather your things and rest well, my friend. We meet outside Castle Volkihar. The Jarl's in danger. A vampire plays as a visiting advisor to the court. Destroy it before it's able to complete its foul business. But be warned, the Jarl's guards are unaware of the threat and will treat violence against this advisor as a crime. Convince the Jarl of the threat and he'll let you destroy the creature. If not, then do your best not to get caught. Quickly now. The longer you delay, the more danger the Jarl is in. Watch your back.
That's what I thought his assignment would be. So I think that's pretty much all the preparations we can do. What I found is all the changes to Skyrim make in Altmer a pretty interesting build because of how they handle magic. So they make for very interesting mage archers, especially when you consider the usefulness of the bound bow. And the fact that bound bow can be upgraded without smithing. This upgrade is through perks. And with it, you basically have unlimited ammunition, although you can use regular arrows, with the bound bow. You just have to be careful if you're doing it in survival, because the summoned arrows have weight to them. But that's not a problem outside of survival. Get on all that. Be interesting once we get to a system that can handle pretty much all of Tamriel in one map, or even multiple maps. And so far I think the only game which has had all the provinces in one game has been Arena. The very first Elder Scrolls game. And even there you just visit the capitals, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a long time. Of course, I actually wonder if we might see a game like Daggerfall again. Daggerfall, the map on that one is huge. It is bigger than all of the games combined. But one of the reasons why it was so large is because it's generated. That one, if I remember right, had something around close to 1,000 towns in it.
Come with us right now.
I don't know who you think I am. I don't care. Leave me alone.
But the dungeons and the towns were basically pieced together, so you saw a lot of repeating architecture and a lot of similar patterns in both dungeon and towns. So basically it's a lot of copying and pasting in order to achieve a map that large. But it did have one interesting thing that I'm trying to remember if it's in any of the other Elder Scrolls games, but you could buy a boat and use it as a house. And it'd be nice if that returned. So far I don't know what the next one's going to be. It shows mountains, so it could be maybe the parts of the Black Marsh do have mountains like that, and parts of the Red Guard home have mountains like that as well, although it's a lot of desert climate for the Red Guard and it didn't look like a desert. If I had to guess, it would probably be either Black Marsh or maybe Daggerfall again. But it could, in a pinch, be the Altmer Islands. Of course, Daggerfall was split into two different provinces. Well, actually 3 different provinces too. 3 if you count. No, wait, 4. Yeah, it was 4. It was split into 3 major provinces and a city-state. The city-state is the Orc city-state. That was created by one of the endings for Daggerfall. I don't know why I was thinking 2, but it's really 3. It's either 2 or 3. I'm pretty sure it's 3. But Daggerfall is the weird one because all of the endings happened at the same time because of the strange nature of the Elder Scrolls. Because of the Elder Scrolls can allow anything to happen even if it doesn't make any sense. With Morrowind and Oblivion, all of the quest lines do get done, but it's left up to interpretation as to who does each of them. There's suggestion that it's not the prisoner who does the Shivering Isles quest, for example, and that it's just that someone does it. But again, it leaves you up to decide for yourself if it's one character or multiple characters. But all the quest lines do get completed in canon. Or at least I haven't heard of anything where they've nailed down exactly who does what. And supposedly the Sheogorath you see in this game is the character who completes the Shivering Isles quest. Because the ending to that is that you become the new Sheogorath at the end of that. Which is an interesting idea about ascension and of mortal beings like Akatosh, from a mortal to a Aedra or Aedra-like. Except in Sheogorath's case, it's ascension from mortal to Daedra. Which is not too much of a different distinction. I mean, they are called, the Daedra are called demons, but that is not the most accurate description of the Daedra.
Stupid dog.
Part of it comes from the actual name of the Daedra and Aedra, because they are both Mir, or Mir-related languages. And the Aedra translates to our ancestors. The Daedra translates to not our ancestors, or not of us. I mean, in fact, there are 3. Well, I'm not sure if you can call them positive Daedra, because they're more neutral than like the Aedra. Azura is one of them. She's not necessarily an enemy to mortals. She'll even go out of her way to protect certain mortals, although they tend to be dumber, since she has ties directly to the dumber. Usually this is not the case with the Aedra, because the Aedra sacrifice their physical forms so they could have a greater influence with the world itself, if that makes any sense. Where the Daedra act upon the world physically, the Aedra sort of don't. They put their influence on the world rather than acting directly. Their influence onto mortals, empowering them, and the like. Whereas the Daedra will take a direct influence, although they do some of the same things as the Aedra by empowering mortals through artifacts like Azure Star, which you can pick up in this game, or through Molag Bal's mace. And hopefully that was interesting along the ride to Solitude. Oh, not Akatosh, Talos. I mixed up the two. It's Talos who ascended from mortality to Aedra status. I'm absent-minded. That is one of the reasons why the Altmerian domain object to Talos worship, because Talos was not originally in Aedra. And I just said Akatosh. My brain gets fried sometimes. It's even more painful for the Nords because Talos was a Nord. And it's even more complicated because it was the Nords through Talos that created the Empire in the first place. They were a heavy influence on the Empire, more so than the Imperials. Of course, if you ask me, the Altmer Isles is probably the most logical place to go next, because you still have the Dominion as a major problem with the Empire. And that threat is, well, might not be going away anytime soon. Of course, it would be funny if it were actually on another continent, but I suppose it's a huge possibility as well.
You there, traveler!
That guy's
Over
a
here.
vampire. Okay. At Rorkstead, the Dragon Bridge is not that far ahead. From there I need to go past Solitude, follow the coast, and get to the side of the battle. I think it's the most difficult fight in the DLC. The fight against the Snow Elf isn't so bad. The biggest problem there is when he starts dropping parts of the roof on you. But that can be avoided by heading back into the hallway. The one against the final vampire can take a while. And it's not just that fight either, it's the fight to get to the vampire, to face him. I suppose I could cut cross country. It's just the safest way to get to the vampire's castle is to go up the Solitude and then follow the coast. There's a few things that will attack you up there, but they're easy to avoid. And if you run into trouble, as long as you're not playing under survival, you can always jump into the water and then travel in the water all the way there. Which is another viable option as well. Not as viable if you're playing under survival, because you'll freeze before you get there. As long as you don't fall too far, then this is perfectly safe. You can slide down a mountain so long as your feet don't leave the ground for too long.
Knew it.
You're great, a necromancer. I should have summoned Argite back. I'll do that when I get far enough away. But as you see, they're easily avoided. There's some bandits over there sometimes. They can be worth hitting every now and then. Especially if you're doing the vampire quest line. Okay, there's the castle. Now for the fight to get in to the main boss and to take out the main boss. And that one's a headache.
Let's get indoors. Or in a cave. Anywhere, just this.
Alright. easy to get friendly fire. So far so good. Next part of the battle.
Leave no vampire in one piece. Don't let any of them get away.
And I got hit and died. That is easy to do. Keep forgetting sometimes I don't particularly have a tanky character, particularly when that happens. And I'm very bad against lightning. Oblivion Walk was probably a little bit better. Why do you walk right in front of me? And then there's that sudden dodge that that one is doing, where they just move out of the way suddenly. But he's the one who's doing a lot of damage with his spells. He's down. There's that lightning one. Got him. I think the others are just the dogs, so they should be able to handle them. This is the third part of the fight, and
Serana, my darling,
it is bad.
I see you still favor keeping of pets.
You know why we're here.
Of course I do. You disappoint me, Serana. You've taken everything I provided for you and thrown it all away for this pathetic being.
Provided for me? Are you insane? You've destroyed our family. You've killed other vampires all over some prophecy that we barely understand. No more. I'm done with it. You will not touch her.
So, I see this dragon has fangs. Your voice drips with the venom of your mother's influence. How alike you've become.
No. Because unlike her, I'm not afraid of you. Not anymore.
And you. It appears I have you to thank for turning my daughter against me. I knew it was only a matter of time before she'd return with hatred in her heart. A small price to pay for the betterment of our kind. Yes, yes, always the noble vampire hunter. And what happens when you've slain me? Is Valerica next? Is Serana? Then my daughter is truly lost. She died the moment she accepted a mortal into her life. Yes, quite. I'm growing weary of speaking to you and my traitorous daughter. I'll give you a single chance to turn over the bow to me. There will not be a second.
It'd be dumb to do that.
Very well then, you leave me no choice.
And that is why I have a problem, because I melt. Bad to melt. Works when I have someone who can distract the enemy. Where did he go? There he is. Or if my enemies are using just normal weapons.
This day was always coming.
Where is he?
This won't end well for you.
I'll rend the flesh from your bones.
I'm not gonna die like this.
I should get more stamina.
It's time for you to suffer.
I
some poisons, maybe they'll work. And of course the arrow goes right through them as soon as I poison it.
Come on, Stone Skin.
The annoying thing is he moves around so friggin' much. Oh great, yeah, and those things too.
This won't end well for you.
Alright. Do have some sun arrows. On a lethal blow, that means it's not useful until it's lethal. This might do it. What I need to do is slow him down. And an ice arrow is pretty good for that. This fight can take a while.
I'll rend the flesh from your bones.
The advantage I think he has is he has unlimited magic, basically. Thought you could hit them even in that mist form, but I guess you can't.
I will darken the skies!
It's an incredibly cheesy form. Where he recovers far too quickly. That was more annoying than anything. Look how cheesy this guy is.
I will darken the sky!
And there's a possibility that the whole thing can become bugged too, and then he'll stop taking damage. He's resisting the poison. And they're throwing off my shots too, having to deal with those things. I think I got him finally. You gotta be kidding me. Cheap! This is why he is as cheap as all get out. And just healed himself back up from nothing. It is ridiculous.
So long, my darling.
He's as cheap
I
as...
see you still
Darn, I
favor
gotta go through
keeping
this
a pet.
stupid... Come on, I want to go through it.
You know why we're here.
Of course I do. You disappoint me,
I'm
Serana.
gonna autosave it as
You've
soon as he
taken
stops
everything
talking.
I provided for you and thrown
Yeah, I'm gonna hit him
away
first
for
few times with
this
this one. Then I'll switch to Ariel's bow.
Provided for me? Are you insane? You've destroyed our family. You've killed other vampires, all over some prophecy that we barely understand. No more. I'm done with you. You will not touch her.
So, I see this dragon has fangs. Your voice drips with the venom of your mother's influence. How alike you've become.
No. Because unlike her, I'm not afraid of you. Not anymore.
The problem is
And
this
you.
fight can become so buggy
It
sometimes.
appears I have you to thank for turning my daughter against me. I knew it was only a matter of time before she'd return with hatred in her heart. A small price to pay. Yes, yes. And what happens when you've slain? Then my daughter is truly lost. I'll give you a single chance to turn. Very well then. You leave me no choice. Oriole's fall will be mine.
Oh, Lana, why do you walk right in front of me? Now I've got to switch weapons to Ariel's bow. Turn back. Just follow. Not doing quite what I hoped it would do. I'll try to use that when he hides in that area again. I swear that arrow should have hit him. All the NPCs have a strange thing they do every now and then, which causes them to automatically dodge whatever arrow is thrown at them.
Your powers are nothing. Ugh.
Oh, you kidding me? Where it's most annoying when he just vanishes on you.
fall will be mine.
And that misform is just a pain in the rear. Add to the fact that he has unlimited army. This becomes a very cheesy fight. The entire fight is just freaking cheesy.
Run, coward! Run back! I'll rend the flesh!
Just like that, I just died almost instantly.